Hi everyone, Spydiechick here. Today we're going to be talking about the Spyderco Lil Lum. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm looking forward to sharing some of my thoughts on this knife. It's a knife I've been carrying for a little while now, so I think I'm ready for a review. So overall, the knife just comes in at just overall length of 5.41 inches. When it's actually closed, as you can see here, it comes with liners. Stainless liners. It has a flow-through construction, has G10 in terms of its handle material. You can see the actual grippiness there. You can see that it actually comes also with a two-way positionable standard Spyderco pocket clip, tip up only. It can be taken apart with the screws as well. Open, the knife is 5.41 inches. The blade length is quite small, 2.31 inches, and as you can see here with a size comparison, the close length is 3.1 inches. Beside it is the Spyderco LilNative and then the Spyderco Lava. And on the right, you have the mini barrage on that side as well. And on the right, you actually have the Para 3. And just because I find that it's quite nice when you can have the open comparison as well, you have the Spyderco LilNative just above the Spyderco Lil Lum. As you can see, the Lil Lum is even smaller than that LilNative. You have the Para 3 on the top, which really is much larger, as you can see from that size point of view. The Lil Lum compared to another common knife is the Mini Barrage. As you can see, it's quite a big difference, especially in terms of the blade length as well. And another knife that actually has a little more of a negative angle, the Spyderco Lil Lava, it's a little bit, just a tiny bit larger than the Lil Lava. And of course, having my trusty Ridge wallet, I think that's a nice comparison in terms of size. And here it is, this Lil Lum. If you open it, in terms of how it carries in the pocket, I think this is an important thing to see here. Right into the back of the pocket, it really is very discreet. And if you pull it out, as you can see here, it took a little bit of force there. And then from the front, it also carries pretty well. It's pretty discreet. I want you to take a notice there. As I'm pulling it out from the pocket, there is some resistance. The G10 texture is quite grippy, which is going to be the thing that you have to weigh against. Is yes, it's grippy in terms of holding, but it can cause some pocket wear, but that may be not an issue for some people. Giving it in terms of seeing how it is, if you actually take a look on the inside here, the Lil Lum does have some nice skeletonization on that side of the liner. And just to let you know, I mean, it comes in at a pretty reasonable weight at 1.9 ounces or 54 grams. There's no skeletonization on the actual side of the liner that actually disengages. And I can see, I'm really happy at how it actually turned out in terms of you can actually see the skeletonization done pretty well. I want to note here, if you take a look at the liner itself of where it disengages, those pieces are those items that have been milled out there. The jimping is quite sharp, so it actually caused a little bit of discomfort when I'm actually opening and closing the knife initially, but as I got used to it over time, I did find it gets a little bit better. Something to keep in mind, the Lil Lum does, I would say the ergonomics is very well done. It's actually really comfortable. It's such a simple design, but holding in a reverse grip, a forward grip, if I'm even choking in from the top, you can actually get some nice control. But notice that there's no jimping on the top, and but I didn't find myself wanting jimping in that sense because I already get some nice control, and I found that actually in use, it actually fared really well. And just giving an example of how how I typically would use the Lil Lum in an office setting. Let's say normally it'd be opening packages, opening mail, things along that line. Simple everyday tasks. I wouldn't put it under very strenuous forms of tasks, but in terms of everyday things, I was quite impressed with how the LilNative fares. If you can see here, these swooping cuts, I was very impressed. Actually, in fact, once I started using the Lil Lum, and I actually demonstrated it, and during the cutting portion of this video, I actually found I liked the Lil Lum even more. And I wanted to show here, because I really enjoy seeing other people use their knife for food prep tasks, I wanted to include that in. I wouldn't use the Lil Lum typically for a lot of food prep tasks, but it's nice to know that it could handle it. Cutting open this banana no problem. And I'm just showing this here. It actually just glides through the media very, very well, and I found that it really did not disappoint, so that's a welcome thing. One thing you can notice here is the Lil Lum really does have a very thin blade. It comes in about 0.05 inches or about 1.9 millimeters. So that having that thinness, I really got to experience that, and I really got to see that in action once I started doing the food prep. In fact, I found I actually got more material for the content as I was filming, so I thought that was a nice surprise. The Lil Lum really is a great slicer. So I would say overall, I think the Lil Lum is a great knife. I think it really is a beautiful knife. I would say that the opening is very smooth. It's small enough for an office type carry. It has a very usable blade shape. All that belly that's there, it really pays off once you're using it. And of course, you see that intense angle. Well, I would say relatively intense angle, that because it sweeps down, I find that it lends itself really well for cutting tasks. It's definitely a thin knife, so it's really good at slicing. The ergonomic shape of it, I wanted to show it feels really well. But the reason why I'm putting my finger out there like that is just to show that there is no choil. So if you're used to that, that may be something to consider, because you want to make sure you don't move your finger too much further forward, otherwise you can cause some issues there. In terms of cons, because I like to be honest here, the grippy texture, it may be an issue for some, just because they can cause some pocket wear. The liner lock itself, engaging and disengaging, I find in terms of the fit and finish, overall it's good. However, it does cause some discomfort in the finger if you're not used to it. And there's no finger choil. Another thing I wanted to note as well is in terms of costs, and this is going to be quite significant here, it comes in at about 200 Canadian dollars or about 140 USD currency, and dollars in USD currency. So that's quite significant. I just want to show here that that may be a factor for some individuals. They may find that that is enough to ward off purchasing this knife. I found that for myself, I do think that the price tag is very hefty, but in terms of all the other items, as you can see here, it's just a beautiful knife if you're really, I guess if you're really attracted to that type of design. And there's quite a bit of history, of course, in terms of having the Lil Lum as well. And you like the way it carries. The fit and finish overall is quite good, and it's the size and dimensions is, I think, very ideal for an everyday carry. If all those things work for you, then I think this is a great carry. Thank you everyone for tuning in today to watch my review of the Spyderco Lil Lum. If you liked the review, feel free to subscribe and comment. I look forward to making more reviews on exciting gear in the future. Alright everyone, take care.